On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Sometimes you walk through life alone, wondering if anyone understands what you are going through, hoping someone will listen and offer a word to make your day. The Church of God of Prophecy offers unconditional love and support, regardless of what you are going through. Visit cogop.ca for a location near you. The Church of God of Prophecy, developing authentic disciples of Christ.
Good evening and welcome to another segment of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Woodroe Thompson, and it is a pleasure to have you joining us this evening. Today we're celebrating some very special people. As you know, it's Mother's Day, and we're here to celebrate our biological, our spiritual, and our mothers in every capacity. We just want to give a shout out to you and let you know how much we appreciate and how much we love you. It is said that there's no more influential or powerful role on this earth than that of a mother. As significant as political, military, educational, or religious public figures may be, none can compare with the impact made by our mothers. This afternoon, I have a very special guest who is a mother to many and a mother in many ways. She's a pastor, she's an author, humanitarian, CEO, television host, international speaker. She's the founder of several Canadian and global charities. The various innovative and dynamic programs that she's involved in, they're transforming lives and providing solutions for at-risk children, youth, and families. She has been honored with several awards, both in Canada and in the US, for the success of these programs, and she sits on the board of several networks and has served in Women Presidents Organization, an international network of women with multi-million-dollar companies. In January 2008, she was appointed as United Nations representative with influence as a transformational activist to deal with humanitarian issues and systemic poverty in partnership with world leaders. She was recently named among the 2021 list of Israel's top Christian allies, along with Mike Pence, the former Vice President of the United States. My guest today is the dynamic, powerful, spiritual, and visionary Dr. Pat Francis. Welcome to Let's Talk.
Wow, I'm excited to be here, Bishop. This is such a great opportunity. I love the intro, and you are really influencing and impacting so many lives.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us. And just before we jump into today's Mother's Day, I would like to ask you, how impactful was your mom and is your mom in your life as a person?
My mom was the comforter. You know, my dad was not great at comforting, but you knew that he was very proud of me. But
Right.
mom was the one that made sure she make sure we got all the correction, because when it gets to him, it would have escalated. And she's the one that hid things that need to be hidden, and the one that was very caring. And she departed and went home to be with the Lord. And then I ended up being her caretaker. So she
Right.
died at 92, and she died in my arms, you know, and it was so beautiful for me to be at that last moment with her. You know, I remember I finished preaching once, and when I came down, my team said to me, Pastor, they said you must come to the home where she was now, and you know, she's traveling. Never heard the word traveling before.
Right.
Never understood it. But I went, and I'm thinking, oh my word, the things that you fear most, the things that you think, oh, how is it gonna be? When is it gonna be? And I went, and something hit me when I was walking through the door. And I thought, but she cannot go now, because I have to be in Africa in 2 days' time, and God is a God of order. He wouldn't allow this and disrupt everything, the conference and everything that they have been advertising. So I stepped into the room and I said, Mom, Patty is here.
Right.
Wow, something happened, and she awakened.
Very good.
I went, you know, sat with her, and she lived 2 more years.
Wonderful.
You know, so, you know, it is a very thing. The love of a mother is one of the greatest gifts we all can have.
That's correct. Now, the last 2.5 years, we've been impacted by this pandemic called COVID-19. How impactful has that been for you? And how impactful was that on ministry?
Well, COVID is such a dangerous virus, because on one side it is invisible, so you can't see it, and then it mutates. And so in 2018 to 19, God told me that there's going to be a global disaster. And I never understand it, because I don't call myself a prophet. But then he told me that you need to gather people to pray globally. And so we had about 17 nations praying and saying, God, please, please forgive us, please, doing whatever. We prayed, we fasted for 30 days. And when it hit, finally, I said, God, I didn't realize. I was wondering, a global disaster, was it going to be an earthquake? Was it going to be what? And when it hit us, the Lord said it's a plague. And then it says it's going to be cycles of destruction. And now we're seeing we're on the 6th wave. It's going to be waves. It's going to be waves. And I'm saying, God, what is this? And the interesting about COVID, on the one side, it is the virus. But on the other side, it is the attraction it is to demonic forces. And that is what people sometimes are not understanding how to deal with it, because it's both spiritual and viral, you know. And so the prayer is very important with COVID. The wisdom is very important with COVID. And if it's not dealt with wisely, and then with the prayer aspect, then it's a very dangerous invasion in the body.
Right. Now, I know it has impacted the way we do ministry. I don't think ministry will ever be the same. Technology, all of the different things we've had to consider. Do you see this as a great opportunity for the Church of Jesus Christ?
Oh, yes. in every season, God has a promise that is consistent. I
Right.
will build my church, and the
Yeah.
gates of hell shall not prevail against it. So, church
Right.
will never be the same again, as you say, Bishop. It will always now be a hybrid strategy
Yeah.
where you have the in person and you have the online. So we had to go through, and still are going through, the restructuring and understanding with all the 2 years of being away and all of that. Who are the current members, and how we support the members online.
Right.
How do
Right.
we water baptize them? How we disciple them? How we do everything that we're doing with the members, because our members now have grown globally.
Yes.
And so we have now a global congregation. So we're going through restructuring, and God is just growing slowly, and we are redigging the wells that were not in place and redigging them wells. And God is good, because in this season, God is making the church the answer to society.
Very
That's
well.
what I love.
Do you find that now that we're open, where people can return to the in-person gathering, that there's still some folks who are saying, I'm not ready yet?
Yes,
How do we encourage them?
well, you know, what I have done actually is saying everyone is welcome.
Right.
And if you are concerned, we welcome you online, and we will nurture you online.
Right.
And what is happening, because when they come back, they feel such power, they love the worship, they love the fellowship.
Very good.
Then they becomes the marketing team that call everybody and says, come back. And so the experience is drawing people back.
Wonderful. And I can attest to that. Now, you're the founder and CEO of Cahill Leadership Network. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the word Kahil, it's a Hebrew word. And
Yes.
I think it was about in 2009 when God began to say to me, focus on that word, because it has about over 100 meanings, and it's very holistic. And he says in the last move, we have always talked about Shekinah glory. And Shekinah glory is the glory of God with us. God with us. He says, but now in this last dispensation, I'm going to be focusing on the glory of Christ in my people.
Right.
And so we then begin to be aware of the glory in us. And just this, in Genesis 1, we were created in glory, in the very image of God. And so the glory in us is a part of what the prophet Isaiah is saying about arise and shine, and the light of Christ is in you. And as in this darkness, the glory of the Lord is going to rise upon us. So the reason I felt, now I know now why God focused on Kahil glory is because in this last of the last days, I believe it's the ordinary church people that's going to usher in the great revival. We had the era where we had the great evangelist that will have 100,000 people turn up, and Billy Graham and all these great people. But in this dispensation, I believe God wants to arise in his church as the Kahil glory of us, who are so many, where we work, where we play, where we do business. You know, we can rise up and share the gospel and be the gospel. And then one by one, God has agents planted everywhere where he will trigger them to be so glorious and so powerful and so successful that they will be attractive to the harvest. And so Kaya Leadership Network is a business group of leaders and business and ministry leaders who really sees themselves that they want to be the one that will trigger the revival, train the people, and access all these great promises that God have that we quote. God wants to give us access and train our mind in wealth creation, train our mind in how to prosper in all areas of your life, as holistic prosperity. And all these promises, my plan is to prosper you, not to harm you, and to give you hope and a bright future. It sounds so good, but how does that happen? And I believe that one of the biggest things that God wants to give us now is access. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, but if you have access to a millionaire or access to a billionaire, that's part of your wealth. Wealth is who you know. By knowing you, Bishop Woodrow, I am wealthier because you know a greater person, and it's added to your life greatness. And so that the access is so great. I mean, in this pandemic time, for example, a simple thing that I say, God, this is it. It is happening. You know, the inflation is rising, and you know, even for last Christmas, the turkeys went up to $75 for a turkey, and all of that. In this season, access has happened where we created a goodness center, and now we have farms that is bringing food to us to feed the people. And at first I thought, oh, it's for the poor, it's for the poor. But God says, no, it's for my people. Because Israel always take care of his people first. And so I said to the people, no, this is farm vegetables, this is potatoes, this is sweet peppers, this is all these farm. And then they went into frozen food from another group for seniors and all kinds of things. This is the wealth transfer that we have been talking about.
Very good.
And then in another program where one of the big conglomerate companies, when they can't sell their products, they're giving it to the church and say, you know, this burst is for us. So that could be things like comforters for the bed, shoes. This could be whatever they can't sell because they were dumping it and they got in trouble with the environmental people. So now the church is a distributor of goods, household goods, and the church is a distributor of fresh farm food. It's access. I don't own a farm, but I have access. I don't own a big company, but I have access. And so God can flow through us. And so we'll let God arise. The Kyle glory of Christ in us is the hope of glory. So Christ in us and in the church is the hope of glory for Canada. And it's the hope of glory for the nations. So we need to have the understanding so that we can access, so that we can be a blessing and be a blessing to all nations.
Oh, that is exciting. I know that Kahil, one of the Hebrew word is valor.
Yes.
So men and women of valor, we need to realize that God has created us to be men and women of valor. I know you have a conference that is upcoming, Kahil Glory Awakening. We're going to discuss that when we come back from this break. I'd like for you to share more on that, but we'll be right back after this quick break. Please stay with us.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.
Kyle Glory Awakening, May 19 to 22, 2022. Our theme, Fueling the Great Revival. Make this a destination in Toronto, Canada. Join us in this post-pandemic season to revive your dreams, refresh your hope, and reimagine yourself in this decade of opportunities. Come to the gathering of global leaders, worshipers, intercessors. Join us with our dynamic speakers such as Apostle Emmanuel Curry, Cindy Jacobs, Chuck Pierce, Rixia Matero, Derek Schneider, wealth creators such as Carolyn Marsh, and more. Fueling the Great Revival. This is a decade of outpouring of glory in a world that is plagued by darkness. The glory of the Lord is going to rise upon the Church of Jesus Christ because He has promised, as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Together we can. Pastors, leaders, bring your entire team and leadership, staff, invite your congregation. Kyle Glory Awakening, May 19 to 22, 2022. Register today at www.patfrancis.org or call us at 905-566-1084. See you there. Kyle Glory Awakening, May 19 to 22, 2022. Our theme, Fueling the Great Revival. Make this a destination in Toronto, Canada. Join us in this post-pandemic season to revive your dreams, refresh your hope, and reimagine yourself in this decade of opportunities. Come to the gathering of global leaders, worshipers, intercessors. Join us with our dynamic speakers such as Apostle Emmanuel Curry, Cindy Jacobs, Chuck Pierce, Rixia Matero, Derek Schneider, wealth creators such as Carolyn Marsh, and more. Fueling the Great Revival. This is a decade of outpouring of glory in a world that is plagued by darkness. The glory of the Lord is going to rise upon the Church of Jesus Christ because He has promised, as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Together we can. Pastors, leaders, bring your entire team and leadership, staff, invite your congregation. Kyle Glory Awakening, May 19 to 22, 2022. Register today at www.patfrancis.org or call us at 905-566-1084. See you there.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. My guest today is Dr. Pat Francis. And just before we went to the break, I mentioned the conference that is upcoming May 19th to the 22nd, 2022, Cahill Glory Awakening. It looks wonderful. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, there's some brilliant minds in the world that is planning what they call the Great Reset.
Yeah.
And it could affect us with all the digitalization of the economy and the trade and everything. The one world government is not just now something that we read in Revelation. We have started it. Right. We see how COVID can shut down the entire world.
Oh, yes.
And then it went into this forceful thing that if you don't have the vaccination, we could fire you. If you don't have the vaccination, you can't work. If you don't. So the control of humanity is very strong. And so the Cahill Glory Awakening, again, is to emphasize that the awakened church, God is going to do something to lift and shift us. And the theme of this awakening is fueling the great revival. God spoke to me and said, even as the world is planning their great reset, I am planning the great revival.
Amen.
There is no way the enemy is going to stop the building of my church. And my church is not just a building, it's the people. I'm going to build up my people. I'm going to manifest my glory in and through them. And so the awakening is for people to recognize the great glory that is in us that can flow through us. And God is sending us some great team of people that I really thank God that they're going to come and pray for Canada, which is in gross darkness. And so we have Apostle Emmanuel Kuri from Nigeria, a powerful man of God that influences governments, and amazing story, an amazing prophet. And we have Chuck Pierce and Cindy Jacobs and Rick Matera and Derek Schneider, and one of my daughters from UK who is a secret millionaire. She's going to talk about creating wealth in this post-pandemic. So I am excited for it. And because we are transitioning slowly, it's not going to be as intensive as most conferences. It's Thursday night, Friday night, and all day Saturday, 9 to 5. Rest again in the evening, and then Sunday morning. Very good.
Very good. Looking forward to it. Now, you mentioned government earlier, and Dr. Leslyn Lewis is the leadership candidate for the Conservative Party of Canada and also Prime Minister of Canada, and we are working closely with her. Could you tell us a little bit more about Dr. Lewis, especially those who may not have heard of her or know of her?
Well, she's one of what we call visible minorities.
Right.
She was born in Jamaica and came here early as a little girl. And she has been through things that she knows that visible minorities go through. In spite of that, she pressed through. She got a bachelor's of law, then she got a master's of environment studies, and then she got a PhD of law. And then she started her own law firm. So she is a lawyer, so very brilliant. She is a businesswoman and can talk about the economy. She's an environmentalist, so she can talk about the environments, and she knows what touched people. So one of the things she keeps saying, every Canadian matters. And we talk about the systemic racism that is in all the political parties, quite frankly. But now God has raised her up where she ran 2 years ago at the leadership race, and she became the star, and she won the popular vote that made her famous across Canada. And then she became an MP as well in Haldeman, Norfolk region. And now, again, the church is rallying behind her to become the leader of the CPC party and eventually the Prime Minister of Canada. So the church has a great opportunity. She is the only visible minority that made it. And that's a miracle. She was the first one to be confirmed in the leadership race, where she raised $300,000 and met the requirements to be in the leadership race, the first. When you talk about the first, then it means that something is saying something here.
Of course.
And I feel that the church has the power to determine the destiny of Canada. According to what we do and according to how we vote, we could find ourselves, if this government continue the way it's going, you can wake up one morning and your bank account is frozen. The hate and the anti-Christ spirit, the different laws that are happening to mute Christians, mute pastors, threaten them if they preach the Bible, if they have their own values. Now we have the MAID law, which is assisted suicide. Normally in the criminal world, they stop the death penalty, but now it's legal that you can kill somebody if they decide that if they're too sick or if they want to die. It's the spirit of death. That's a spirit of death now that is upon Canada, because we have made it death legally. We can kill legally, and unfortunately, politicians don't know the ramification of what we do and how it affects the spirit world. And so even conversion therapy, trying to criminalize pastors if they deliver someone from demonic influence. And demonic influence can be very dangerous, where a spirit comes upon someone and it's a spirit of murder. And they just decide to kill their mother or kill their aunt. So we're seeing things where young people are young adults are killing their mother and grandmother, and violence is increasing, and more younger people are murdering now. Then it's natural, but it's also supernatural. We have legalized the spirit of death to rule in Canada, and so we need a leader that has the fear of God, which is the beginning of wisdom, to say, hey, this does not fit our values. And Bishop, I had an interfaith rally last year because I believe that the faith people are being persecuted. And mosques are being burnt down. The Buddhist temples are being ransacked. The Hindus are feeling it. And then they were burning churches across Canada. I think up to 60 churches were burnt. And I said, hey, if we don't do something now, we might find ourselves have to go underground. Because to believe in God and to have godly values became something that was threatened. And so this lady, Dr. Leslyn Lewis, she is not embarrassed to say she is a Christian. Others are not embarrassed to say that I'm of this religion or that religion or that religion. But the enemy wants to mute God's church so that you don't preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. And then the enemy wants to entomb God's church, where you have to become underground to survive. And so we have somebody now who's the only visible minority person and the only one that is professing openly her faith in God. And she is professing that she's going to change, she's going to try to repeat repeal some of these laws, and put it into more balance. And she has the idea, she know what it's like to be a mother and, have to try to find things at the same time. She know what it's like to need a scholarship to go to school. So she is coming not from a standpoint where I was born rich and I was born with a name. She was the only name that she has now is the name Christian, and that's the name. She has no name to says I was a this and my father was a prime minister. I this. She has nothing to trust in except the greatness of God that made her brilliant. She's a doctor by PhD. She's a businesswoman. She was a successful lawyer. And when I met her in my office and she was introduced, I said, why would you want to do this? You're stepping out on a limb, man. Politics is wicked. They will try to destroy you. I mean,
oh yes, hear well.
And she said, Dr. Pat, I feel called to this. And that's
very good.
That settled it for me. She is called for such a time as this, and we need the visible minorities to rise up with her and have a vote and have a voice. 2 Chronicles 7:14, we love to quote that as a Christian. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face, which means seek God in what you can do practical and naturally so that God can do the supernatural.
Very good. So please tell us more about this upcoming special leadership campaign event with Dr. Leslyn Lewis on May 15th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Jamaican Canadian Association. Please tell our viewers more about that and how they can get involved.
Yeah, she is so excited that her Jamaican brothers and sisters are going to be supporting her in this.
Oh, yeah.
And because that is encouraging, because the first time, as you said, Bishop, it was the white people of the church, especially SOCONs, they're called, that really made it for her. And so this time she was so really at JCA, they will do this for me. I said, yes, I'm working.
Very good.
And she's very excited, and that's May 15th, as you said, right? And they can register so that there we can have they don't know what the limit of the numbers is, but they can go on For a Better Canada and they can register there, or they can write to me at Kyle@patfrancis.org, or they can call the JCA themselves and get to register so that we can know how many people, because we want to put in as many people. And I'm thanking all the bishops that have caught this vision that we can help our sister, and they are spreading it in their churches, because the church is not going to be muted. We shut our mouth, we have to preach the gospel, and we're not going to be buried in a tomb and alive. We have a vote, we have a voice, and we can choose the next leader of the CPC party and also in Canada. And so Bishop Woodroe, he has all the information too, so you can, he will tell you how you can get it from his group. And it is exciting to see that we could become history makers and also king makers. It happened in America with Barack Obama. Let's make it happen now with Leslyn Lewis in Canada.
Very good. Well, Dr. Pat Francis, it's been a pleasure having you. That's all the time that we have for today. And may God continue to bless you. And we're praying for Dr. Leslyn Lewis, who will be supportive of her. And I'd like to call on all our churches, our Christians, remember our responsibility as Christians, not only to pray, but to make sure that we use this God-given privilege that we have. God bless you and thank you for joining us. All the time that we have for Let's Talk today, I would like for you to remember that date, May 15th at JCA, and we'll be sharing more information as to how you can register and be part of that. May God continue to bless you. Mothers, may you continue to have a very special day. Our prayers are with you. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Let's keep talking.
On the Let's Talk television program, we share solutions to real-life problems with real people, showing how faith guides everyone through the storms of life. We talk about tough issues that affect all generations. Our conversations help you learn, grow, and lead. Help us continue with this great work by partnering with us today. Call 905-625-1278, extension 233, or visit letstalkca.org. We look forward to your partnership with us to change lives. Let's Talk, revealing the heart of Christ through engaging media conversations.